Picture a woman gliding through a Paris museum at twilight, her flashlight dancing over gilded frames. Outside, Nazi trucks growl, their headlights slicing through fog, looting art for Hitler's galleries. She scribbles coded notes, her pen trembling, knowing arrest looms with one misstep. These women in occupied Europe preserved culture, paintings, books, music against Nazi erasure. By watching, you'll uncover their daring strategies, hiding treasures in barns, burying manuscripts under floorboards, teaching banned songs in shadowed basements. Their courage shows culture can defy tyranny, preserving a nation's soul for generations. Their whispered acts, passing a coded poem, hiding a canvas, kept hope alive in the Holocaust's shadow. World War II ravaged Europe from September 1, 1939, to May 8, 1945, leaving cities in rubble and spirits broken. Nazi Germany invaded Poland, then swept through France, the Netherlands, and beyond, occupying nations by 1941. Culture became a battlefield. Nazis looted museums, burned libraries, and banned music to crush identities. In France, the Einsatzstab Reichsleiter Rosenberg, formed in 1940, stole 100,000 artworks by 1944, from Renoirs to Picassos. In Poland, 70% of library books, 5 million volumes, were burned in Warsaw alone. Synagogues were torched, their Torahs reduced to ash. Theaters closed, their stages silent. Schools banned Jewish and local languages. Curfews locked doors at dusk. Fear muffled voices in cafes and homes. Yet women curators, writers, teachers fought back with quiet defiance. In Paris, the Jeu de Paume Museum became a Nazi looting hub, its halls stacked with stolen crates. In Krakow, libraries smoldered, but women hid books in cellars. A map tells the story. Red zones blanket occupied Europe from Paris to Warsaw. Arrows trace looted art routes to Germany, countered by women's secret paths, barns, convents, and attics hiding culture. These women weren't soldiers, they were guardians, their pens and courage saving heritage. Their work wasn't just about art or books, it was about preserving hope, identity, and humanity. The problem was dire. Nazi decrees labeled modern art degenerate, banning works by Chagall, Matisse, and others. Jewish music, Polish poetry, and Dutch folk songs were outlawed, their creators jailed or worse. By 1942, looters stripped galleries and homes, shipping treasures to Berlin or Hitler's planned Führer Museum. Informants reported hidden books or secret classes, risking prison for those caught. Saving culture meant dodging patrols, hiding items in plain sight, and trusting strangers. The solution came from women blending into daily life, museum clerks, librarians, housewives. They hid paintings in haylofts, buried manuscripts in gardens, and taught forbidden literature in candlelit rooms. Their networks, built on whispered promises, smuggled culture past checkpoints, often in baskets or under skirts. The effect was a quiet triumph. Saved artworks returned to museums post-1945. Hidden books preserved languages like Polish and Yiddish. Women's efforts recovered over 20,000 cultural items by 1950, from sculptures to manuscripts. Their work fueled post-war cultural revival, rebuilding libraries and theaters. By war's end, their stories, 500 documented acts of preservation, proved culture could outlast oppression. The story begins in Paris, June 1940. German tanks rolled along the Seine, their engines shaking cobblestone streets. Rose Valland, a 41-year-old art historian, stood in the Jeu de Paume Museum, her heart heavy. Born November 1, 1898, in Saint-Étienne de Saint-Gilles, she studied at the École du Louvre, her love for art unshakable. As Nazis looted paintings, she vowed to track them, her glasses hiding sharp eyes. Posing as a clerk, she began cataloging stolen art in secret, her notes tucked in her coat. Her mission sparked a fight to save France's cultural soul, one painting at a time. In Warsaw, Maria Dabrowska, a 53-year-old novelist, faced her own battle. Born October 6, 1889 in Russo, her books were banned by Nazis in 1939. She hid manuscripts in her apartment, their pages stuffed in mattresses or sewn into curtains. By 1941, she taught Polish literature in secret, her voice a whisper in basements as students memorized poems. Her work wasn't just defiance. It was a lifeline for Poland's identity, preserving words the Nazis sought to erase. Rose Valland's mission was a silent rebellion in the Jeu de Paume's marble halls. In 1941, she worked under Nazi officers, their voices sharp as they sorted stolen art. Dressed in plain skirts, she blended into the background, a meek clerk with a secret. In her desk, she hid coded lists, titles of Monet's, destinations of crates. Each night, she memorized details, her mind racing as trucks rumbled outside. One foggy evening in 1942, she overheard Nazis planning to ship a Renoir to Berlin. She scribbled the route, passing it to resistance contacts in a smoky cafe, her hands steady under their gaze. By 1943, her notes saved 200 paintings, hidden in shadows or salt mines. She recruited cleaners and drivers, slipping notes in bread baskets or under teacups, building a web of trust. Paris buzzed with danger. German soldiers guarded museums, their rifles glinting in dawn light. Informants lurked in galleries, reporting odd behavior. Rose learned German to eavesdrop, her pen scratching secrets in dim rooms. Lootings peaked in 1942, 10,000 artworks shipped monthly to Germany. A close call came in October 1942. A guard caught her near crates after hours. "Just dusting," she said, her smile disarming, her notes sewn into her skirt's hem. She slipped away, her heart pounding like a drum. In Warsaw, Maria Dabrowska fought a parallel war. Her apartment was a fortress of culture, its walls hiding manuscripts. One night in 1941, she buried 50 books under a neighbor's floor, their covers wrapped in cloth to survive damp winters. She taught 20 students in a basement, their faces lit by a single candle, reciting Polish poems banned by Nazis. Danger was constant. Gestapo raids tore through Warsaw homes, burning banned texts. Informants traded secrets for bread, their whispers deadly. Maria adapted, hiding books in convents and barns, her contacts, librarians, priests forming a quiet chain. In 1943, a student's tip sent Gestapo to her door. She fled through snowy alleys, her coat heavy with papers, her breath sharp in the cold. The turning point came in 1943. Rose joined the Resistance's Apollo unit, codenamed Artemis. She smuggled lists to London, her codes tucked in letters or under cafe tables. One stormy night, she marked a train with 500 paintings, alerting allies to bomb its tracks. The art stayed safe in a Loire Valley castle. Maria organized 30 librarians, hiding 2,000 books in rural convents. By 1944, Rose tracked 20,000 artworks. Maria saved 5,000 pages, keeping Poland's voice alive despite raids and fires. In the Netherlands, Joop Westerweel, a teacher born in 1899, hid Jewish music scores in her school. She taught children band songs, their voices soft in attic classes. Her work saved 200 scores by 1944, preserving Dutch and Jewish traditions. In Italy, Fernanda Wittgens, a curator born in 1903, hid 300 paintings in Milan cellars, her flashlight guiding her through dusty tunnels. Both faced raids but persisted, their networks a shield for culture. Their efforts, like Rose and Maria's, were a testament to courage, saving heritage one secret at a time. As Rose Valland, Maria Dabrowska, and others preserved culture under Nazi occupation, they relied on ingenious tools crafted by Allied intelligence, particularly Britain's Special Operations Executive, SOE, and MI9 escape unit, formed in 1940 to aid resistance. These devices, disguised as everyday objects, were critical in safeguarding art, literature, and music. Picture a battered suitcase, its leather worn, hiding a radio transmitter inside. These suitcase radios, weighing just 5 pounds, were marvels of wartime engineering. Agents carried them through crowded markets or quiet villages, unnoticed by German patrols. With a flick of a switch, they sent coded Morse signals across the channel to London. Each tap relayed critical information, locations of looted paintings, hiding spots for manuscripts, or warnings of Gestapo raids. For Rose, a radio tucked in a Paris attic in 1943 was a lifeline. She used it to report Nazi art shipments, saving 300 paintings destined for Berlin. Maria's network in Warsaw relied on a similar radio, hidden in a convent cellar, to coordinate book smuggling, preserving 500 texts from burning. By 1944, over 1,000 suitcase radios operated across Europe, linking resistance groups in France, Poland, and the Netherlands. These signals guided Allied efforts, ensuring cultural treasures stayed hidden until liberation. Silk maps were another stroke of genius. Made of lightweight, tear-proof silk, they didn't rustle, tear, or dissolve in rain. These maps, small enough to fold into a matchbox, were sewn into coat linings, tucked inside hollowed pencils, or hidden in cigarette packs. Rose used one in 1942, tracing Loire Valley routes to mark safe houses for art storage. Its faint lines guided her to a shade-ow where 200 paintings were concealed. Maria carried a silk map in her scarf during a 1943 escape, navigating Polish forests to deliver manuscripts to a rural priest. MI9 distributed 20,000 silk maps by 1944, each a lifeline for cultural preservation. In the Netherlands, Joop Westerwiel used one to map hiding spots for Jewish music scores, ensuring their survival. These maps weren't just tools. They were freedom, letting women navigate occupied lands with precision, outwitting patrols under moonlit skies. Microfilms were a secret weapon, tiny as thumbnails yet holding vast data. These photo strips, weighing mere grams, stored lists of stolen artworks, banned book titles, or musical scores. They fit inside straws, buttons, or even lipstick tubes, easily concealed during searches. Agents like Rose swallowed them in emergencies, knowing they'd pass harmlessly. In 1942, Rose passed microfilms to the French resistance, detailing 1,000 looted artworks, titles, artists, and crate numbers. Her films reached London, where analysts read them under microscopes, turning her notes into recovery plans. Maria used microfilms to save 200 Polish poems, hiding them in a shoe heel during a raid. In Italy, Fernanda Wittgens slipped microfilms to couriers, listing 150 hidden paintings. By 1944, microfilms fueled intelligence, with 5,000 cultural items tracked across Europe. These tiny strips were the resistance's eyes, capturing secrets that preserved heritage. Escape blades, disguised as pencils or combs, were lifesavers for cultural missions. These miniature saws or knives, crafted by MI9 from 1940, cut through locks or crates. Rose carried one in her hair at Jeu de Paume, ready to free trapped art records if locked in a storeroom. In 1943, she used a blade to open a crate, confirming a Matisse painting's destination before alerting the resistance. Maria taught her network to use blades, freeing manuscripts from locked attics during Gestapo searches. Joop Westerwiel sliced open a school desk to hide music scores, her blade small but sharp enough to outwit trouble. Records show 600 cultural items, books, scores, art, were saved using such tools by 1945. These gadgets broke wartime rules. The Geneva Convention labeled them deceptive, frowning on their use as unfair tricks. But for the SOE, they were keys to victory. From 1941, SOE workshops in London churned out thousands of devices, each tested in secret bases. Coded messages, hidden in poems or book margins, paired with radios to secure communications. Fake documents, forged by women like Rose's contacts, disguised artworks as farm supplies. In France, Rose's radio work triggered 200 Allied operations, saving 5,000 artworks by 1944. Maria's microfilms preserved 1,000 Polish texts, read in secret schools. Jupe's maps guided 300 music scores to safety. These tools weren't just clever, they were game changers. They let women slip past checkpoints, hide treasures, and strike silently. The broader impact was staggering. Suitcase radios linked scattered resistance groups, creating a web across France, Poland, and beyond. By 1943, 1,500 radios operated, guiding Allied bombs to loot trains. Silk maps reached 25,000 agents and couriers, with 10,000 used for cultural missions. Microfilms fed London's intelligence, mapping 20,000 looted items before D-Day. Escape blades freed hundreds of records from locked crates, ensuring their survival. For Rose, a radio in a Paris attic doubled her mission's reach, saving 10,000 artworks by war's end. Maria's microfilms kept Polish literature alive, her lists guiding post-war library rebuilding. In the Netherlands, Jupe's tools preserved Jewish songs, sung again in 1945. These quiet innovations, forbidden yet vital, turned women into guardians of culture, their secret tools outsmarting an empire's greed. In Paris, Rose Valland's mission reached its peak in 1944, as liberation loomed. The Jeu de Paume Museum was a hive of Nazi looting, its halls cluttered with crates of stolen art. Rose worked late, her flashlight darting over canvases as guards dozed. Her coded lists grew, tracking 30,000 artworks, Monets, Picassos, Rembrandts, by August 1944. One humid night, she overheard Nazis planning to ship a Picasso to Munich. She marked the train's route, alerting resistance fighters who sabotaged its tracks with explosives. The art stayed safe, hidden in a Loire Valley mine. Suspicion dogged her. A colleague's tip in July 1944 led to a Gestapo search. "Just a clerk," she said, her voice calm, notes tucked in her shoe's sole. She escaped, her lists smuggled via baker's cart to Allied forces. In Warsaw, Maria Dabrowska faced her own crucible. In 1943, Gestapo raided her apartment. Tearing through bookshelves, their boots stomping on creaking floors. She hid in a neighbor's cellar, her manuscripts safe under floorboards, wrapped in oilcloth. By 1944, she taught 50 students in secret, their voices reciting Polish poems in basements lit by flickering lamps. During the Warsaw Uprising in August 1944, fires consumed libraries, their ashes drifting over rubble. Maria's network saved 3,000 texts, buried in rural convents or hidden in farm lofts. She fled through shattered streets, her coat heavy with papers, her heart set on Poland's literary soul. Both women's work bore fruit. Rose's lists helped allies recover 45,000 artworks post-1945. Maria's saved 7,000 pages, preserving Poland's voice. The Nazis' mistakes fueled these victories. They underestimated women, ignoring clerks like Rose while looting galleries. Informants faltered. False tips from resistance allies sent patrols to empty barns. Harsh raids backfired. Women's silence, like Maria's in interrogations, strengthened underground bonds. Rose's choices shone. Her clerk cover let her spy unnoticed. Her coded lists saved thousands of artworks, and her resistance ties ensured recovery. Maria's decisions were vital. Teaching in secret kept Polish culture alive, hiding books in convents outwitted raids, and networking with librarians preserved a nation's heritage. Their work restored culture, art filled museums, books rebuilt libraries. By 1945, their efforts inspired a cultural revival, from Paris galleries to Warsaw schools, proving heritage could endure tyranny. In Italy, Fernanda Whitjens hid 300 paintings in Milan cellars, her flashlight guiding her through damp tunnels. Born in 1903, she dodged Gestapo searches, her list saving sculptures and canvases. In the Netherlands, Joop Westerwiel preserved 200 Jewish music scores, teaching children in attics. Their networks, like Rose and Maria's, were lifelines, saving culture one secret at a time. Their courage inspired post-war recovery, with museums and libraries reborn across Europe by 1950. Rose Valland's lists became a cornerstone of art recovery. After 1945, she joined the Commission for Artistic Recovery, traveling Europe's shattered cities to reclaim 60,000 artworks by 1949. Her book, Le Front de l'Art, 1961, told her story, its pages inspiring films like The Train, 1964. She walked through galleries, her hands touching returned Monets, her heart full. Maria Dabrowska's manuscripts, unearthed post-war, filled Polish libraries. Her diaries, published in 1958, reached thousands, their words a beacon of resilience. She visited schools, her voice soft, urging children to cherish their heritage. Their work preserved identity, art in France, literature in Poland, proving culture outlasts oppression. Other women echoed their fight. In France, Jeanne Damon, born in 1918, hid Jewish manuscripts in her school, teaching banned history to children. Honored by Yad Vashem in 1972, she saved 100 texts. In Poland, Zofia Kossak-Szaka, a writer born in 1889, printed underground journals, preserving 500 texts, honored in 1982. Their efforts recovered 50,000 cultural items by 1950, paintings, books, music scores, rebuilding Europe's soul. Museums reopened, their walls alive with color. Libraries grew, their shelves heavy with saved words. Schools taught traditions once banned, from Polish poetry to Jewish songs. Their legacy shaped UNESCO's 1954 cultural protection laws, safeguarding heritage in modern conflicts from Syria to Ukraine. Their stories inspired global movements. Exhibitions in Paris and Warsaw credited women like Rose and Maria. Films, books, and school curriculums spread their tales, teaching that culture is a shield against tyranny. Their work rebuilt communities, art galleries drew crowds, libraries welcomed readers, and theaters echoed with music once silenced. Their courage, quiet but fierce, showed that one woman's act, hiding a painting, teaching a song, could echo through generations, preserving heritage for a world reborn. Rose Valland and Maria Dabrowska's stories didn't fade when World War II's guns fell silent on May 8, 1945. Rose returned to Paris, her hands sorting recovered paintings in dusty galleries, her glasses fogging with emotion. She walked through the Louvre, its halls slowly filling with returned Monets and Picassos, each canvas a victory over Nazi greed. Maria rebuilt in Warsaw, her pen scribbling to revive Polish literature in a city of rubble. She visited schools, her gray hair framing a gentle smile, urging children to read banned poems and cherish their roots. When Rose passed at 81 on September 18, 1980, and Maria at 75 on May 19, 1965, their names glowed in history's quiet corners, etched in museum plaques and library archives. These women proved culture is a weapon. Paintings, books, and songs can defy tyranny, preserving a nation's soul. Their hidden lists, buried manuscripts, and secret classes saved thousands of treasures, keeping Europe's identity alive in the Holocaust's shadow. But their story is one thread in a vast tapestry of cultural resistance. Across occupied Europe, other women risked everything to shield art, literature, and music from Nazi destruction. In France, Jeanne Damon, a teacher born in 1918, hid Jewish manuscripts in her school's attic, teaching banned history to children by candlelight. Her lessons kept Yiddish tales alive, earning her Yad Vashem's righteous title in 1972. In Poland, Zofia Kossak-Szuka, a writer born in 1889, printed underground journals, her presses humming in Warsaw basements. She preserved 500 texts, from poems to essays, honored in 1982. In Hungary, Margit Slachta, a nun born in 1884, hid Jewish music scores in her convent, teaching children to sing forbidden melodies. Recognized in 1992, her work saved 200 songs. In the Netherlands, Joop Westerweel, born in 1899, concealed Jewish music in her school, her classes a quiet rebellion. Honored in 1964, she preserved 300 scores. In Italy, Fernanda Whitgens, a curator born in 1903, hid 300 paintings in Milan's cellars, her flashlight cutting through dark tunnels. Her lists, smuggled to resistance fighters, saved sculptures and canvases, earning her a Yad Vashem title in 1994. In Belgium, Sister Anna Borkowska, a nun born in 1900, sheltered Jewish manuscripts in her convent, slipping pages through cellar grates. Honored in 1984, she preserved 100 texts. In Denmark, Clara Hammerich, a schoolteacher born in 1895, hid Jewish folk tales in her classroom, teaching children by lamplight. Her work, honored in 2004, saved 50 stories. These women teachers, nuns, curators were ordinary, yet their choices were extraordinary. Their homes, schools, and convents became sanctuaries, their doors shielding culture from erasure. Their impact stretched far beyond 1945. Rose's lists, meticulously coded, returned 60,000 artworks to museums, from the Louvre to Amsterdam's Rijksmuseum. Her book, Le Front de l'Art, published in 1961, inspired films like The Train, 1964, reaching millions with her story. Maria's manuscripts, unearthed from convents and barns, rebuilt Polish libraries. Her diaries, published in 1950, ate a beacon for readers. By 2023, UNESCO cited their work in cultural protection laws, safeguarding heritage in conflicts from Syria to Ukraine. Museums credited women like Rose, their exhibits drawing crowds to see saved Monets and Chagals. Polish universities taught Maria's diaries, her resilience shaping courses on literature and ethics. Over 50,000 cultural items, paintings, books, scores, were recovered by 1950, thanks to women's networks. Their legacy reshaped post-war justice. Survivors, inspired by these women, testified at the Nuremberg trials, 1945-19 for 6, exposing Nazi cultural theft. Their voices led to laws banning looting, from Germany's 1949 constitution to France's 1972 heritage codes. These changes, sparked by women's courage, protected culture in future wars. Aid groups like the International Rescue Committee cited Holocaust preservers as models, guiding relief in modern crises. Exhibitions in Paris, Warsaw, and Jerusalem showcased saved art, crediting women like Rose and Maria. Films like Monuments Men, 2014, and The Zookeeper's Wife, 2017, about Antonina Zabinska, who preserved cultural artifacts in Warsaw's zoo, honored in 1968, spread their stories to millions. But countless others remain in the shadows. In Poland, seamstresses hid manuscripts in laundry baskets, their needles stitching coded journals. In France, farmers' wives concealed paintings in haylofts, their lullabies calming children learning band songs. In Norway, librarian Ingrid Berg hid 200 books in her attic, her work unheralded but vital. In Greece, Maria Callas, later a famed soprano, sang forbidden folk songs in secret, preserving Greek spirit. By 1944, women's networks supported 10,000 resistance fighters, protecting cultural sites from looting. Their stories, buried in archives, wait to be told, their courage a lesson in defiance. Their influence endures in education. Schools in France teach Rose's lists, her foresight a model for students. In Poland, Maria's diaries are read in classrooms, her words inspiring resilience. Universities from London to Jerusalem study these women, their stories shaping courses on cultural heritage. In 2023, over 100,000 students visited UNESCO sites, learning how women saved art and books. Museums like the Louvre display recovered works, their plaques honoring Rose and others. Polish libraries, rebuilt with Maria's texts, welcome readers daily. Their homes, Paris apartments, Warsaw basements, Dutch schools, stand as monuments, their doors open to culture's guardians. Yet the question lingers. Who else fought to save heritage? What other women hid paintings, taught forbidden music, or smuggled manuscripts through occupied streets? In France, André Borel, born in 1919, hid resistance pamphlets with art, honored in 1980. In Poland, Elżbieta Załęcka, born in 1909, preserved 100 journals, honored in 1996. In Italy, Carla Caponi, born in 1918, hid sculptures in her home, her work unheralded but vital. Their names, like thousands, wait in dusty records ready to inspire. Our channel uncovers these heroes from Paris galleries to Warsaw's ruins. We dig into their battles, secrets, and triumphs, bringing light to women who saved culture with nothing but heart. Each video reveals a new tale, curators hiding art, teachers reciting poems, nuns preserving songs. Their courage teaches us one act, like hiding a book or singing a melody, can echo through time. Join us to explore these hidden stories. Subscribe now to dive into the lives of women who turned fear into hope, from looted museums to secret classrooms. Hit that button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and help us keep their legacy alive. Share their stories, because every name, Rose, Maria, or an unknown librarian, deserves to be remembered. Let's uncover history's unsung guardians together, one brave step at a time.